So let's discuss more of the epithelium. Epithelium is such an important function that we should not, I want to explain a little more. So in medical aspects, why epithelium is important? What does epithelial tissue or epithelium means? Epi means above, that's the surface. And thelia is in Greek word teeth or a mammal's nipple. So probably we found this one from these. So epithelial tissue lines the external surfaces of organs and cavities of internal organs, including our gastrointestinal tract from mouth to anus. So let's take a look. Where are the epithelium and how they look different? So nasal passage of, let's say here, you can see these lining and sitting this thin layer, which is called a basal lamina. And here it has a lot of cilia. Cilia is a fine structure which increases the surface area. And it's columnar. And then esophagus, which is linked to the stomach, is the lining is you can see multiple layers of epithelial cells. And the lungs, you can see a lung is also covered with epithelial cells because it's facing the air and the lung tissue. So you can see a simple squamous, a very thin layer expediting the diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide. And the other part, you can see these intestines. So intestines are also covered with a simple columnar epithelium. And let's go to the kidney. Kidney, is a filter system in our body, and then it secretes, so making a urine. So it has a simple cuboidal shapes of epithelium. And the urinary system, such as a bladder, need to expand and then contract. And that has a multiple layers of epithelium. So one thing, while their shape and type looks different, there's something in common here. That is, you can see this blue. In fact, this is a pseudo color though, lining underneath this epithelium. That means all epithelium should sit on a surface, which is called it's a connective tissue called basement membrane. Sometimes we call it as a basal lamina, usually used in electron microscopy, but light microscopy, we call it as a basement membrane. So this is very important that distinguish the cells, epithelial cells always sitting on top of the basement membrane, makes the cell need to know what's the up and bottom side. This we call as a polarity. So polarity, the bottom side we call as a basal, and upside or luminal side is called apical. And the bottom side is a basal surface. You can see the basal lamina and basal surface. And each of these epithelial tissue are kind of lining, protecting, and distinguishing in and out of the body or organ. So itself are kind of connecting each other, and that specialized contact is composed of many things. An important one is called, they have to be very tight. So it's called tight junctions. And desmosome is a specialized molecule which connects membranes of each connected epithelial cells. And it's linked to the intermediate filament, which we will discuss next lecture. Another aspect you can see here is, can you see blood vessel here? No. So this is very important that this epithelial tissue do not contain blood vessel. So we call it avascular. So why epithelial tissue or epithelium is important in medical aspect? Because you know, cancer, over 85% of cancer death, cancers are arising from this epithelium. probably because they have a contact with outside of the world, a lot of inserts, or, like DNA mutations can happen over here. And so that's why epitheliums are such an important, and there's a special term for cancer arising from epithelium. It's called carcinoma. And because of this, epithelium has a very good potential for regeneration if there's any damage or injury there. So let's get into a little deeper into the types of epithelium. You can see there's a number of names. However, it's very easy once you know about it. So first, you can see simple squamous epithelium, such as in a lung lining, or many blood vessels or lymphatic vessel inner linings. Here, simple means simply a single layer. While you can see another one here, stratified squamous epithelium. What you notice is there is a multiple layer, such as esophagus. So that's a multiple which protects against abrasion. Our skin is also another example. So in that multiple layer case, we call it as a stratified. And we also call squamous. Squamous means, you remember the fish is covered with a fish scale. So covered with the scale, we describe it as a squamous, meaning flat. Okay, so that's here. And another example of, let's say, a glands, sweat glands, inner lining of sweat glands or kidney tuber has this cuboidal epithelium. Cuboidal means just as like it's shaped as a square. So it's a cubic in shape, we call cuboidal. Another here example, stratified cuboidal epithelium, like sweat glands. And the other thing, we remember that in the GI tract, when we are absorbing food molecules, you can see simple columnar epithelium. So columnar means the shape is in column shape or rectangular in shape. So in this elongated shape, it's a simple columnar epithelium. And in this case, you see the fine structure on top, which we call brush border from the histology point of view. This is called ciliated, and there's a lot of fine hair-like structures which extremely increase the surface area. So this is related to the function of absorbing, such as in our digestive tract, or secretes mucus and enzymes. And another, there's also stratified columnar epithelium. And there's an interesting one. You can see this lining of the arrangement of nucleus quite regular, but there are sometimes these nucleus can be up and down. So it actually is a simple, but it looks like stratified. So we call it as a pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium. And there's also a mixture of transitional epithelium. And for example, urinary organ to expand and stretch, like bladder, has this multiple layers of epithelium and different in shape. Now you could remember, similar to epithelium, there's a term specific for lining of blood vessels or lymphatic vessels. It's called endothelium. Endo means inner side. So endothelium is a special kind of epithelium which lines the columnar surface of circulatory system.